Hey guys, it's Jeremiah and Jesse from ArrowRidge, and today we're going to tell you why chickens should be the first animal you get on your homestead. The number 6 reason that we would say you need to start with chickens is they're a renewables food source. You can do meat chickens, you can do a laying flock, you can do dual purpose birds. So laying birds, they're gonna start at about 6 months laying eggs. They're gonna contribute to your farm, to your food, to your table
every day.
Every day. Chickens take days off too. That's how they were created. But most of the time you're going to go out and have a gift every day in your nesting box, and that is something that is really cool. And as far as meat birds, they're made to grow big, and then you can actually process your own chickens. You've seen us do that in a video, and that is something that we use again as a teaching tool for our children, to show them kind of the cycle of life and how something has to die every day for you to live. And that example has been set through time by God, by our Creator. That is very important. And again, that's just something that we really cherish. But that is reason number 6. Do you have anything
to add? And chickens aren't overwhelming the way cows or pigs might be, and it's not an animal that you raise for a long time and then you process and you're done with it. Chickens give you food every day, in the form of eggs and protein, and so that's something that I like about chickens. It doesn't take a lot of work to do that, and you get rewarded with it every day. Number 5 reason why you should get chickens is they are a beginner-friendly farm animal. They're family-friendly, they're easy to raise, and really it takes the kids about 10 to 15 minutes a day to feed, water them, check for eggs, and then they do that in the morning, and then in the afternoon sometime they'll go and check eggs again, especially if it's been really cold like it has. We've had some that have frozen, so we want to try to avoid that. So we will go in and check for eggs again sometime in the afternoon.
Number 4, chickens. The feed is relatively cheap. Chickens are obviously omnivores. They'll eat whatever you give to them. So we feed ours. Their main feed is like a grain-based feed that we get from a local source, and then that feed is supplemented with food scraps from our kitchen, and as you can probably imagine, as a large family, we probably generate 1 to 2 pounds, maybe upwards of 3 pounds of chicken scraps over the course of a day. And that's 3 meals, but normally over 3 meals we generate 1 to 3 pounds of just chicken of waste that we otherwise would go to a landfill. So we feed that to our chickens, and they actually really like that a lot. So.
And then in the spring and summer we have garden scraps, and then we have a grocery store that's close by that we can get buckets of their produce that they are just going to throw away, and a lot of it's still really good, and so they'll just keep it for farmers around here, and that's a good way to get some fresh produce for really cheap, or free in our case. And then of course there's other ways of getting some free or cheap food. You can sprout grains, you can soak your feed to allow it to swell, and then that gives you more volume but also brings out the nutrients. And then there's always the possum bucket, like we did last summer, that worked really well and took care of some varmints that were bothering our chickens, but also gave them some free food. We also, when we hunt, when the deer that we have processed ourselves, this year we've given the carcasses to the chickens, and they love it, and it's gone within a couple of days. After, of course, we've gotten all of our meat that we're going to take off of it, we just throw it in there and they devour it. Number 3 is that chickens are easy to find. They're easy to procure. Of course, hatcheries are a really great source for chickens. They're going to have a wide variety of the more common breeds, of specialty breeds or rare exotic breeds. You can get bantams, you can get all kinds of things, plus other birds like ducks and turkeys and things. But for chickens, it's obviously going to be cheaper if you don't mind having a mix of males and females. But you can also specify if you want them sexed, if you want just all hens for eggs, or if you want meat birds specifically. And then, of course, if you do get egg producing chickens specifically, and you do get a couple of roosters in there, you can always eat them later on. You can always cull them after they get to an appropriate weight. Also, the hatcheries will sometimes have farm days where you can go to farm stores and they'll bring the chickens there. The only drawbacks to that I've seen is that it's on a first come, first served basis. So you might not get the kinds of chicks that you want, the breeds that you want, or the number. We've been to some where there's not been anybody else there, so we had first pick. And we've been to some where we've had to wait in a long line, and then the ones that we wanted were all gone. And then there's also the fact that they don't sex those chicks, so you kind of just get what you get. Yeah. You might get all roosters, you might get all hens, you don't know until later. And then I don't know, do they vaccinate those chicks?
Normally any feed store chicks that we buy, we feed them a medicated feed for the first, I think, 4 weeks.
So if you order them from the hatchery, you can tell them if you want them vaccinated or not, or sometimes they just do it. But if you get them from the farm store, they're not guaranteed to be.
I know Heartland Hatchery is a local hatchery here that does chick days, and normally there is a line out the door when they're here. Anytime we've ever been to one of their chick days, and they do Jesse said earlier that they sometimes it's first come first served, but Heartland will actually, if you call them first and set up your order, they will bring your order for you, and you just grab your chicks and you go. It's really a nice thing to have. So if you find a local hatchery that does all your local chick days, that may be a really good option too. Might save you a little bit as far as shipping cost as well, because hatcheries, the shipping cost is a little bit more. There is Craigslist and other things where you can get chickens, but I would rate the hatchery option, the first would be my number 1 preference, and then my second preference would be feed store, and then my third would be Craigslist. We have never bought anything off of Craigslist, but I will say that if you're looking for a rooster, you can definitely go find a rooster on Craigslist very easily.
All right, number 2, chickens help you grow your food. So they provide a really great compost for your garden. We do the deep bedding, deep litter method for our coop, which is where we lay down straw several times throughout the winter, and then in the spring we'll take all of it out, put it in our compost pile, and then we do the same in the summer, take it out in the fall. And so what we put out last fall will go into our garden this spring, and it'll have what is it called? It'll have broken down, and it's safe to use. It's not going to be too hot.
So one thing that chicken manure is very high in nitrogen, so it's very hot. So it needs to get wet, soaked through, and allowed to break down enough to put. You can't go directly onto your garden, but if it's been allowed to break down and you've added enough carbon material to it to help that breakdown process, it's actually very good for your garden.
And then also they love bugs. If you let them free range in your garden or in your yard, or even like we have a setup where we have the mobile coop and an electric fence in the warmer months, and we have noticed that we don't have very many bugs in our yard. We didn't have any mosquitoes last year.
Very minimal on mosquitoes.
And
yes.
they will eat pests that would otherwise eat your garden crops.
One of the things we really noticed last year, which we didn't notice the first year we were here, we've been here for 2 summers now, and one of the things we noticed was the amount of chiggers that our kids got and we got from year to year. Last year on our front yard we ran chickens. One thing we did notice last year was we did not have a lot of chiggers or ticks around the yard. Now, if we got too far out in the woods, yes, we definitely got ticks, but as far as that was, the chickens definitely help with that. Number one is just the pure entertainment of chickens. We can go out ourselves, we can go out and watch on a warm day and just spend time with our chickens, and we really enjoy that. They're an amazing animal to watch. They're an amazing part of creation. They're a teaching tool for our children. They're just an amazing creature that God has created, and we really enjoy spending time with them. You know, maybe we're a little weird, but we really do find our chickens very entertaining.
And they each have their own kind of personalities and mannerisms. They do quirky little dances, or they like certain other chickens, or they don't like certain other chickens, and they have these little kind of relationships. It's really fun to watch.
It's really interesting to watch them get a hold of a grasshopper or something like that, and they kind of play chicken football is what we call it, and one of them will grab it and they'll run around and try to run from the other ones. And normally that's not the one that gets to eat it. The one that runs around doesn't get to eat it. It's just a fun thing to watch, and it's very entertaining, and you would think it would get old after a while, but it doesn't. It's something we still like to do in the summer times. On an evening, we'll sit there and watch our chickens and enjoy them. So,
what's your favorite part about having chickens? You can check for eggs.
Check for eggs.
Even a 3-year-old can take care of chickens.
Yes. All right, guys. So thanks for coming along with us today. That's our pitch on why we think you should start with chickens. If you're getting ready to start your homestead this year, or you're just wanting to add an animal to your backyard, chickens are very versatile and they are easy to get started with. And again, this isn't necessarily the video to give you all the resources, but you can go do a quick Google search and you're going to find more than enough resources to go get started with chickens. So thanks for coming along with us today. We'll see you next time. And what do we say, Jep? Yeah. We're out. Jeremiah and Jesse. Maybelline's getting a little mad at us right now. So